Moor? 2, who suppressed their science, knowledge, and history? All right? That's 2 main questions that you have to ask yourself when you are dealing with who Moors are, the history of Moors, the history of your people. 1, who are you? And 2, who tried to stop you from being who you are? Who suppressed the signs, all right? So we're going to go on with number 1. It said, what is a Moor? All right, question. It said, a dark-skinned, canker-haired, thick-lipped people that are direct descendants of ancient Moabites, Cushites, Kemetic, etc., who are the founders of many civilizations. A Moor is a navigator or master of the 7 seas. All right? That's the first answer. Number 2, who suppressed their science, knowledge, and history? All right? Quote, a curious schizophrenia developed amongst the Catholics and related to Moorish science and knowledge. On the one hand, they were very much aware of their knowledge, of the superior knowledge of the Moors, and they made efforts to acquire that knowledge so that they would not be left too far behind. At the same time, they strove desperately to keep it away from the common people and even at times to purify it so that it would not become a challenge to Catholicism. They were afraid that the Enlightenment, the new ideas that this new knowledge would bring could affect the populace, so that even though they were given the keys to the inner sanctuaries, they kept the caves closed to the masses. That's from The Golden Age of the Moors by Ian Van Sertima, page 10. And that's this book right here, Golden Age of the Moors. I know if everybody's familiar with that. Page 10. See, he's breaking it down, letting you know that the Roman Catholic Church is the ones that suppress the knowledge. You know, the War of the Crusades, if you look at what's going on today, this is what we in the War of the Crusades. And being right here in Tampa, which is a stronghold for the Catholic Church, these are the people that you have an opposition from, because they suppress this knowledge. They know about it. They use it to build their societies, to fund their societies, to make themselves prosper, but they hid this from the common people. So now that we're bringing this back today, this is our opposition. The Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, you know what I'm saying? That faggot in the Vatican, you know what I'm saying? That's our opposition, you know? The dress-wearing homosexual, transvestite, little child molester, you know? So that's who our opposition is, you know, and the police and everybody else, you know what I'm saying, is, you know, under that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, all right. Now that we have answered these 2 questions in brief, let us go into detail about both questions, all right? Number 1, it said who and what is a Moor, all right? Quote, it said the Moors are classically associated in Western history with Spain, represented African Muslim or Muslim people who once held control of the Imperial Peninsula for nearly 800 years. These Moors were strongly influenced the culture of Western Europe, including Spain, Portugal, France, Italy, and even Britain. The West's scientific growth has much to do with the presence of the Moors, but it has been my experience that within the U.S. educational system, this historical legacy has largely been overlooked and ignored, all right? And this is, end quote, this is quoted from the book, Othello's Children, The New World, page 1, by Jose Pimmy Debate. You know what I'm saying? And it just verified what I just said, how the Catholic Church, how the Moors influenced them, you know? If you notice, if you go to any, I don't know if y'all been there, if you go to any European Masonic lodge, I don't know if anybody ever been to it. I've been to Scottish Rite. I've been to them in Washington, D.C., on 10th Street, when Obama was the senator. I've been there, you know what I'm saying? And the Woodford Master always has his face covered, because they never see who the Woodford Master is. The Woodford Master is always the Moor, because we lead them into the light. They're guided by what we do. You know what I'm saying? They know this. You know what I'm saying? They know this. So we're going to go forward on the quote what the dictionary says about a Moor, all right? The American Heritage Dictionary, page 9, Boston, 1978, defines Moor as, quote, one of the Muslim people of mixed Berber and Arab descent, now living chiefly in Northern Africa. The American Heritage Dictionary is overlooking the fact that the original Arabic people were dark-skinned woolly-haired people. Now, Boston, reason why I quoted the dictionary from Boston, because Boston is the hub of these people intelligence. All intelligence, all COINTELPRO, whatever they do, comes out of Boston. That's the northeast corner. If anybody know about Bayside and Georgia, you enter out the northeast corner. It comes out of Boston. All intelligence comes out of Boston. So the 1978 Boston Harris Dictionary defines a Moor as a mixed Berber of Arab descent, now living chiefly in North Africa. So now, if you ask yourself as a Moor, and we over here in what's the Western Hemisphere, and you say you are Moor to the unenlightened people, they'll say, well, you're not from Northern Africa, you're not mixed Berber, you're not an Arab or Arab. You know what I'm saying? So that brings us to the next part of this here. All right? It says, quote, the close proximity of Arabia to Africa would also suggest that there were ample opportunities for interchange of peoples, religion, and custom. Drusilla D. Houston asserts that, quote, Arabia was originally settled by two distinct races, an early Cushite Ethiopian race, later Semites. The Cushites were the original Arabians. Not only were Ethiopians the original inhabitants of Arabia, but according to Sheikh Ant Diop, Africans were the only inhabitants prior to the 18th century BC. Houston puts the arrival of the Semites in Arabia at an even later date at about 1300 BC. Moreover, one ancient map of Africa drawn in the basin of Herodotus describes the description of Africa made in 450 BC has Arabia as a prominent part of the continent. That's quoted from the book Golden Age of Moors by Ancestry, page 360 and 362. Now, this interpretation of quote that the brother is breaking down clearly disproves what the Boston Heritage Dictionary is saying. If Arabia was a colony of Ethiopia and the Cushites and the original Cushites are dark-skinned woolly-haired people, you see what I'm saying? Then how could they attribute this to Semitics that you see over here today that selling coke, wine, liquor, prostituting in our community, you know what I'm saying? And claiming our lying Islam and stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's a fraud, you know? So we're going to go back to the Moorish Quran, all right? Moorish Quran, chapter 42, verse 2. It says, quote, it say, old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. All right? Furthermore, it could be stated that the country Saudi Arabia is named after a Moor. Arabia is known as Saudi Arabia, named in honor of Abdul Aziz bin Saud, who Roger says was a man of African descent living from 1880 to 1953. And known as the foremost man in Arabia and the Arab world of his time, end quote. That's from the Golden Age of Moors, page 363. Now, Saudi Arabia is named after this brother, Abdul bin, you know what I'm saying, Saud. This man here, picture, is in the Moorish Quran. This man picture's in the Moorish Quran right here. And this brother led the revolution over there. To get the British and all them people out of Arabia. This is a brother. You know what I'm saying? Now, we're going to go forward. All right? But this proves is, you know, what we call it. He said, from the following statement, we can say that a Moor cannot be considered a mixed Arab descent because the Moor are the original Arab. All right? Let's look at what a Berber is and how that term came about. Sheikh Diop actually contends that the term Berber is African, but was probably used to designate foreigners. He writes the root of the word Berber was probably a Negro rather than an Indo-European origin in reality. It is a repetition of the root Ber. This kind of intensification of the root is generally in African language, especially in Egyptian. All right? Moreover, the root Bar and Wadu means to speak rapidly. All right, and Barbar would designate people that speak an unknown language, therefore a foreign people. That's from Othello's Children, page 20. You know what I'm saying? Saying who the Barber is, you know? All right, we're going to go on. He said we also can take a deeper look into the language of the Barber people. All right, quote, citing the world's major religions edited by B. Comfrey Latif, points out that most of the Barbary language exhibit Kemetic, Cushite, or Semitic origins and revealed in their morphic libraries phonetics and word orders, although some Barbary have been linked to Celtic and Northern origin by some French colonial era writers. The team concludes that linguistically and historical evidence shows that the Barbary orders are most likely East African Cushite. He offers the following observations. 1. The Druid Valley of southern Morocco is largely regarded as being inhabited long by the Canaanite settlement of the 10th century BCE by Cushite people, with descendants of Hurrians represent one of the largest Barbary-speaking ethnic groups in Morocco. Several Moroccan family names, Koshay, Koshan, for example, all denote Cushite Ethiopian origins. 3. A prominent village, Mizraim, near the famed city of Fez, is linguistically referred to as Mizraim, the name given to Egypt by Ethiopian Cushites. All right, end quote. That's quoted from the book Hotel of Children, page 23-24. All right. Now, even with the language, he's showing that the Barbary people are Cushite people. Southern Morocco people. If you go to Morocco, when you go to the southern part, you'll see all the Barbers. Yeah. You'll see the original family. If you go to Senegal, you'll see, go ahead.
We went to Morocco, we went to this place called Gora.
All right.
It's just all Berbers. It's like we're looking at each other right now. And then Marrakesh, they keep slowly changing the name. I noticed here it says Kashan. It used to be Marrakesh. Now and then it was Marrakesh. Now it's Marrakesh. They changing Kush to K-E-C-H.
All right, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into questions and answers now. So, you know what I'm saying, I got a tape rolling something on, get on through it with it, you know. So, now from the following statements, we can see that a Moor is not from a mixed Berber descent, but a Moor is an ancient Kemetic Cushite people. The term mixed Berber and Arab descent does not apply to original Moors. In the later future, some Moors did mix with Europeans and gave birth to Semitic Arabs. All right? And the mixed Berber, the Moors were also called Berber or Barbary because many of them spoke the Wolof language. And it was not understood by the Romans. You know what I'm saying? The Moors were also called Arab because of the language they spoke, Arabic. All right? Cool. Now these Africans were sometimes, you know, J. Ryder breaks down, these Africans were sometimes called Arab because of their language. Even as late as the 5th century AD, Procopius, a Roman historian, called the people of Morocco black. From the book Nature Knows No Color Line by J. Ryder, page 57. That's this book here. You know what I'm saying? This is a Roman historian in the 5th century calling the people in Morocco black. All right? Now check this out. This particular right here. Many American Negroes are indistinguishable from Arabs. The New York Times, February 2nd, 1945, reports the beef between President Roosevelt and King Abdel Saud. Quote, it was a matter of considerable astonishment of the King's servants to discover American Negro cooks and mess boys. It was more than difficult to persuade them that these were not also Arabs. The matter was not entirely cleared up. Now this is 1945, where the King of Saudi Arabia, the brother who's in the service of Quran, comes to the White House to meet Roosevelt and say, all those so-called Negroes, black colors, they Arabs too. And it was a big argument about that. You know what I'm saying? This was in the New York Times newspaper, February 2nd, 1955, which they celebrate Black History Month in February. See? So it's divine for that, you know? All right? King Abdel Saud is the Moor that lands Saudi Arabia. Now, from the following historical authors I have quoted, we can gather some sense of identity of who the real Moors are. Now, let us look at the number 2 question. Who was